Joining us now is Adaptive Biotechnology CEO Chad Robbins. Chad, there's a lot of hope for these antibody treatments. How is the one you're working on different than Regeneron and Lilly's, which are both already in line for emergency use authorization from the FDA?
Yeah, so first, Sarah, thanks so much for having me on the show. Where Regeneron and Eli Lilly, they had to optimize for speed, and they were up and running with their antibody capabilities and moved very quickly to move into human trials. What we did is we optimized to find the best set of antibodies. And what we're able to do is look at hundreds of patients and literally screen hundreds of thousands of antibodies looking for that Michael Jordan of antibodies. And the key here is to be able to deliver a very potent antibody at a very small dose. And this is coming along, quite well.
What stage are you at, and when might you get that emergency use authorization or more?
Well, the scientists at Adaptive Biotechnologies have been working night and day since the pandemic hit in March, and we're at the point right now where we finally characterize a set of antibodies that we believe are extremely potent. And the next step is to work with our partner to manufacture and commercialize these antibodies and to get into human trials. So I'll acknowledge we won't be first, obviously, but we do believe that the second wave of antibody therapeutics might have the potency at a lower dose that could provide a broader efficacy to the patient population.
And how do you see that being used? If we're not, it sounds like we're not going to. This is going to be a 2021 story for you. So is it preventatively? Is it in mild cases or in severe cases as it's being used right now?
Yeah, I think it has potential across the patient care continuum, both prophylactically to provide temporary immunity to frontline workers, and also for the very kind of severe hospitalized cases. And so I think there's really an opportunity for a broad spectrum of use cases for this antibody therapeutic.
You're also working on various tests, particularly ones focused on T-cell response. What's the latest there?
Yeah, we're working with our partner Microsoft. Taking a step back and putting this into context, whereas most biotech companies are looking at a single disease or a couple diseases at a time, what we're doing is looking at the underlying genetics of the adaptive immune system and turning that into data. And that data is being used for diagnostic and for therapeutic purposes across a broad spectrum of diseases. So coronavirus, although it's an awful pandemic, the immune system sees it just like it would any other disease. So we turn very quickly with Microsoft to map the T-cell response to that disease. And T-cells are capable of seeing what's inside of cells. And what happens is the virus, once it gets inside of cells, it starts mass producing these cells. And only the T cell is capable of being able to see what's inside these cells. And Adaptive has developed the technology to be able to decipher this code of what our immune system, the T cells in our immune system, are seeing inside of these cells. And so now we're able to essentially use that technology to create a set of tools for vaccine developers to better understand how their vaccines are working, whether they're going to provide durability, whether a patient needs an additional vaccine boost. And we're working with the FDA to provide the first T-cell test in an emergency use authorization for the virus.
Chad, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Wilf and Sarah, for having me on. Appreciate it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.